Greetings. I'm going to show you my serious side, and the subject matter is online dating. So I have been making jokes about it, and I've had some amusing incidents, and I do make the most out of it. I really do. Amusement, that is. My favorite by far is this guy, Mark the drummer, who after just back and forth, blocked me, back and forth on the messaging app, where you can text a person. So it looks just like text messaging, you know, it has bubbles, hit your bubble, his bubble. And he told me on the very second conversation, I'm enlightened, I'm a bodhisattva, I thought you should know. And he sends me a link to a YouTube video, and I'm going, okay. Well, before I look at his YouTube video, let's see if he can answer some questions. They weren't that big of a deal, these questions. I just wanted to know, seriously, if he had altered his blueprint. And he could have asked me what that meant. But he knew what it was all about. It had been established. Would have used needlecraft, as that Sheridan guy says, needlecraft. To each his own, man. My body is my body, and I feed it extremely well. In fact, right now I'm drinking this mineral water. It's really quite delicious. Gerolsteiner, however a German would say it. Gerolsteiner. Sure. Anyway, one of those people that knows how to speak the Bavarian language of the Germans. Whatever that tribe was over there. All right, so the serious part I want to talk to you about is that I'm really looking at this free version as a game. It's a game. How is it a game? It's a game because I'm really just testing the waters, and I'm looking at how they put the carrot in front of the donkey, the carrot in front of the ass, you and me on the dating app. And without being self-deprecating, you kind of feel like one. I'm being an ass if I don't answer somebody back. When I look at their profile, and I couldn't look at that face for 24 hours. I couldn't live with that face. It doesn't matter how old they are. It's just that you can see through a photograph whether or not you can handle looking at a person. And I do know this from experience because I did do the online dating thing briefly. Actually, a couple of times. Okay? So I tried out eHarmony, and I hated it. You have to answer up to 1 million questions. And then when you meet somebody, they've had to answer all these questions too. And I would have read something like, this person does not jaywalk. This is what he says on his profile. Well, I remembered that, and I am not saying jaywalking is bad. I am not saying I don't jaywalk. I'm simply saying that I assumed he was going to go to the intersection. So when we left the restaurant, I was walking him to his car because I lived downtown at the time and I could walk back home. So I was walking him to his vehicle when he darted across the street, jaywalking. And so I know that people aren't honest with themselves. And if they're not honest with themselves, how can they be honest with you? They can't. So, you know, you have to really, really use these apps now as true measures of what a person really is without actually having to meet them. And also without actually feeling badly about yourself. Like, I didn't feel bad that Mr. Enlightened got angry with me and blocked me because I asked him a couple of questions. I mean, that reeks narcissistic personality disorder right there. He couldn't answer questions. I just needed to know, have you changed your blueprint? And he deleted me. So he sent a message first, but with the app, whatever he said, be it condescending or otherwise, I'm assuming it would be a snide remark, a very enlightened one. I'm just going into it. I'm just sort of like, oh, I see his profile. I see what he's like. He's a drummer. He couldn't keep his drumsticks away from other chicks. His daughter's taller than him, and she's got these beautiful tattoo arm sleeves, so you know he's hip and cool. He tells me he manages 2 bands and plays drums in 2 bands. And I'm going, oh, that's an exciting career. And you have a beautiful daughter. So she's towering over him. So clearly that particular musician attracted a beautiful woman. But then he couldn't keep his drumsticks away from other chicks, and that was the end of the marriage. That's my story. It's not necessarily true. So when he postures me and tells me he's that he's enlightened, and I've observed that he's 5'7", so I'm like, okay, he plays drums, he's 5'7", he's on the slim side. I wonder if I could actually, like, I'm 5'6" and a quarter. Like, I really didn't want to go for short guys, and I wasn't reaching out to him. He reached out to me. See, so on this app, if they approach you first, and they're paying premium, I suppose, then they have the ability to communicate with you. And so that's the game. Okay, so hold that thought. And who cares about this guy? You know, he's in the past, but that's one of the funny experiences that I had is I thought surely anybody enlightened wouldn't be so easy to piss off. They'd be more piss-offable. Or they would have come back and said something that was very Buddha-like or something. Anyway, poof, off he goes into Internet Neverland. And I started thinking, wow, okay, this app, this dating app is a lot like virtual reality. You're really in your own little virtual reality. So I decided, choose your own adventure. Choose your own adventure with how you want to deal with this. And I decided to play it like I was in high school again. Now, I was voted 3 things in high school, and that was most athletic, most creative, and most life-loving. And I still am those 3 things. But I don't like to attach myself to the past in the event someone's like, oh yeah, get over your glory days. But at the same token, I'm like, no, I own it. I know what I was. If my class reunions, I'm held in the highest regard, at the highest respect, I own it. I take that in. I'm not giving it up just because it was the past. I mean, why? We're supposed to be charging ourselves, holding the golden light, feeling better about who we are, clearing out the negativity, clearing out the solar plexus. The solar plexus holds the will center, and the will center helps you determine where you will focus your attention, where you will exercise your willpower, like what I had to do with the Karen at the grocery store in post number 6. Go to minute 9 or something, and it talks about it, but it was funny. She was in my face. I had to tell her, get out of my way. I had to assert my will. And she was so angry, she devolved into a sputtering, muttering, crazed lunatic right before my very eyes. So, all right. So what this match making app does is it will introduce you to matches. And you can like them if you want to like their profile. But I haven't wanted to like anybody's profile but this one guy this morning. And then I realized he might not even be a real person. he might be a carrot for this donkey. Now, I'm not counting myself into as an ass, but again, we have to look at reality. We have to take a look at what the game makers are doing with the users. And I'm a user. I'm using the app to meet somebody potentially with the doubt that I'll be able to, but with the hope that I will. But at the same time, all of this happening at the same time, utilizing it as a explorative tool, like self-exploring tool, a self-exploration tool. That's it. So using it as a self-exploration tool, I get to see what I say about myself. I get to feel how I feel when I see a cute guy and he writes a nice profile, but I can't get him because I don't have the premium membership. But I can like his profile. So that's what I discovered. Oh, if he's got the same parameters I have, which is I'm not going to pay, maybe he is also like me. So we're both asses who haven't taken the carrot stick, but we're being like dragged along. Okay, so you'll get a notification in your inbox with the email that you gave them to utilize to notify you, and you can always turn notifications off, just like everything else. And you can see if somebody has written to you, somebody who has liked you, and then here's your inbox for your new men pics. The male species, which is what I'm into. It's particularly white men. I'm just a white man type of guy. That's just the way I roll. I'm from New Hampshire. That's just the way I roll. It's just in my body. I'm dog sitting. There must be a dog out there. Ah. You tell him, Lily. So I'll carry on standing here. Pretty painting. Yeah. Yeah, you can see the kitchen. They got a really nice sink set up and stuff. Very nice to cook here in this nice light kitchen. I brought some vegetables. So back to what this vegetable, this human being has to say. This human being. There are beans in the refrigerator, so I'm going to have beans. Just going to sit here, enjoy life, talk to you. So that's the way they're doing it. The makers of this game. They'll send you your inbox, and it'll be what I told you, the matches of the week or the day or every 3 days, whatever it is, whatever the frequency is, I don't know. I haven't really opened them up until this morning because I started contemplating maybe I should pay, and then I'm like, no, because I'm not ready to find a guy. I'm not ready. I want to use this thing as a tool. I want to study it as a toy, as a gamification of online dating, to understand that the only emails I'm going to open from now on are the ones that say reply for free, and they have a picture of a real envelope with a heart on it. Isn't that cute? So the others I'm just going to delete right away because, except for the matches, like the baseball cards of men, I just will keep those for reference in case any of them contact me in the future. At least I'll see that they were considered a possible prospect for me. Yeah. I'll do that. That's the washing machine. It's about to go into all-out spinning. Has a nice drone to it. So people who are new to my station, I don't just get straight to the point. This is meant to be a leisurely thing. Like, you're supposed to get yourself a glass of water or a beer or a glass of wine or a cocktail or smoke. I'm not condoning smoking. I mean, whatever it takes for you to actually, enjoy a conversation. Granted, it's one way, but that's my design. That's my design. I'm utilizing my YouTube station as a self-discovery tool too. All right, so I discovered that I actually was a little bit insecure. This guy named Bob was sort of like the perfect guy in a way and not so much in another. Again, he wasn't so tall, but he was fit, and that's what I'd like. I'd like an athletic and fit person, because other than the little jelly roll I have around my waist, which I acquired when I was under a lot of stress in a relationship that was non-fulfilling for me. See, I really need to recover. That will melt off. But in the meantime, I've set my standards to athletic and fit, because I tend to be, a woman, but fit. And so getting back to yoga, which I used to do a lot. I look at some of the videos in the past that I did in 2017, 2018, 2019, and I'm going, that's my inspiration to myself to get back to there again. Because yes, a bad relationship will stress you out. And your good habits go. My good habits started leaving, my bad habits started coming. So that's why it's like, I am not ready for a relationship, because I have yet to provide myself the best to myself. How can I, partner with somebody unless I myself have actually risen to the occasion for myself? I'm still working on that. So how can I expect the crumb of the crop if I'm not? Even though I have a really, really good sense of myself and a lot of self-confidence, energetically I don't. Meaning, I got a little insecure when I saw this guy's pictures. And I go, man, he'd be a perfect partner to do some activities with. He was one of those guys, he rock climbs. I don't rock climb. He mountain bikes. I mountain bike, but I don't mountain bike on narrow trails. Just like skiing, I don't go down black diamond, because I can't turn my turns that narrowly. And when you black diamond ski, there's very little room for error. Or you go really fast, or I'd have to go on my butt. But it's called black diamond for a reason. You have to be really good. So there are certain mountain bike paths that to me are like that situation. I don't have enough wiggle room for error, because I don't have good enough control over my steering. Fact. I'm not comfortable on that bike. I think something's wrong with the steering. It's not tight. And I will be bringing that into a bike shop and have it looked at, because my ex kept telling me, oh no, it's because they have fat wheels. It's like, no, I can actually hear, feel, and sense something mechanical. So it's like, wow, what a supportive person. Huh, not. Anyway, that's why I'm not there anymore. And it's also why I'm not in such a hurry to get into another relationship. I'm really getting just out of one. I would say November of, it was decided in October when I took him to watch a Prague for his birthday. And then that was it. I knew, I observed, I knew. I do not want this life. I don't want this life with this man. I kept telling myself I did. I kept telling myself, and then I just felt like I was settling and devolving and becoming unhealthy. We just partied way too much. Well, not we, because he was always going off to be with the guys. Wasn't really a partnership. And my body was like, no, we're not doing this anymore. I had lost my willpower because of confused thinking. So clearing the third chakra is really important because it helps feed the clarity as well. Cognitive dissonance weakens will. Yeah. So willpower is where it's at. Mental mind disturbances, contradictory information, exactly what we see in the mainstream, that weakens the will. It sure does. So I'm working on my will, and when I started doing this exercise that I learned from a podcast online, it changed everything. And I keep telling people I'm gonna demonstrate it, I'm going to teach it, but I haven't done that yet, okay? I've got others, you know. There are some that aren't real time, like a yoga class or meditation class, but they're I talk about it, I give you the technique, and then you put it to your own use. You know, you use it yourself the way that you feel called to. So I do have some of those. So I have done discussions on these exercises, on the the third chakra, willpower, solar plexus, the sun. So anyway, I was going to cave and pay for membership, and then I realized I'm not really ready. And then I realized I was spending too much time looking at these Prince Charmings that may not even be available, especially if they're like me, just seeing what happens. And I'm not paying for premium. I'm expecting premium. And this way I don't get inundated. This way I don't chase after frogs. Bless them. But I have my standards. I was like, one of them is you have to have a jawline. You can't have jowls, dude. You have to have a jawline. If a beer belly's there, I'm not interested. I just left that. Yeah. Also, if a guy's 58 and I'm 58, then is he going to wait to see if he can find somebody that's 48? I mean, wouldn't that be great? But when I was 48, there's no way I wanted to be with a guy that was 58. No. In fact, there's a story there I'll tell you another time. I did have a husband that was older than me by 9.5 years. He was a true boomer. He was a baby boomer. And born in 54, we were worlds apart when it came to our perceptions. And a lot of it had to do with music reference. I know in one of my posts I talk about that. It's the video Generation Jones or Gen Jones, We Are Not Boomers. Everything's so different, and the music reference makes a difference. What music you listen to makes a difference, folks. And so one person said, well, how would music reference make a difference? And then a genius subscriber wrote back, well, they had free love and we had AIDS. Gays were still being beat up at bars, outside of gay bars and stuff, for sport. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is not look at any of the carrots. I'm going to resist the carrots in this game, this matchmaking game. And in their case, they're trying to entice me to pay for a membership, but I'm not going to because I'm investing in myself right now. So I will only, because I can only, communicate with guys that have that envelope sent with a little heart on it. Maybe it even has wings. Whatever it is, it's cute. It's a really cute emoji that's unique to this app, I suppose. And whenever you see that little color red, bing, you know you can open it up for free. Reply for free because they've paid for premium. So that's what I'm going to do. And yet, if I look at them and if I see their profile picture and I immediately feel startled, I'm not going to answer. I'll just delete it. First action, right action. Because it's not just the looks, it's the energy. I have that ability now. I'm not just looks alone. I can see energy. So that guy, Bob, okay, he seemed like he was a really fun guy, and, you know, he would have a level of physicality that I would appreciate. But I just kept going, you know, what kind of guy is he? You know, because he looks studly, but it's like, I don't want to do all these activities with him. I'll go mountain biking. I've already told you I have limitations. I know what they are. And I like doing activities with somebody, but then not. Like, you go do your guy sports. But I just started feeling into him, meaning I was like, oh no, this guy, he's going to be one of the guys that thinks that because he's 58, he's going to have, and he's so buff, he's going to have a 48-year-old. And he could get her, possibly. But she hasn't gone through menopause yet, dude. Just wait until you experience that. you better hold on to your hats. Yeah, women have to go through it too. Guys that go through the inability to get a wanker on, that's really hard. You have to have the talk with them. You have to be like, it's okay, this is too a lot of foreplay. But yeah, you know, some men are like, no, just let me stick it in, and then we'll be fine. I'm like, we'll be fine? We'll be fine? Yeah. I've had guys like, let me just stick it in. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm a female, and I require arousal to get lubed, because I actually have a wonderful, creamy expression of desire given enough time. And I discovered that there's just these guys that you think they know your body, just want to stick it in. And I'm like, fuck that. Don't fuck that. So that may have been TMI. And it's sort of embarrassing to tell you, but I'm just being honest. It's like, I didn't have my willpower. I wasn't in my goddess center. I wasn't like, no. But at the same time, my ex was overpowering. So that was what I was avoiding looking at this guy. I'm like, I just came from a guy that overpowered me and didn't let me pace it and bring it into a pace of beauty and mutual enjoyment. I've had these guys that just like throw me down. So he looked like he might do that. And I was like, wow, I'm still healing. I'm still healing. And then I started thinking lowly about myself, thinking what I could possibly offer. I mean, aside from being entertaining, telling a good story. I mean, I think I tell good stories. They amuse me. I can't find anybody like me on the internet. They do all this editing and stuff. And I'm always looking for somebody that's just going to have a nice conversation with me. Now, I want you to know this wobbling is because this is a selfie stick. I'm not always shaking. I don't have some neurological thing. It's the selfie stick. I noticed that. The other video I made. All right, well, the cats are sleeping now, as is the dog. Well, I think you can see. It's hard to maneuver this selfie stick, and at times I've dropped it and made a big thud, so I don't feel like doing that. I can't find somebody like me. I can't find somebody that just have a conversation to make me feel like, I'm not by myself, which I am. So, granted, I'm pet sitting, but I'm by myself a lot, which is a requirement for my personality and my spiritual development. And I realized, wow, let's just carry on with this self-actualization, with this pet sitting and tuning into animals and learning how to love on them and get love back. I mean, my two sons' dog, my son and daughter-in-law's dogs, they just love being pet and laying on you. And the one Boston Terrier kept digging under the covers so it could sleep in the bed. And what it would do was, they had blankets on their furniture so that dog hair wasn't everywhere. He would burrow himself underneath and sleep underneath the covers. He would sleep underneath the covers. Or he would like get the pillows to nest all around him. And I was like, these guys are so cute. So we had fun. We had fun. Took him walking. But, you know, Donnie pulls on the chain. And sometimes Norman's the other one. He would go to the left and Donnie would go to the right. So I'd be having my arms all stretched out like this. And I would start stretching my back. I would take advantage of the situation. I didn't do squats. I started doing stretches, and I didn't do any of that. So you're out like that, and you're just like stretching your pectoralis muscles. Okay, well, that's the end of the show. This was a nice long one for people. And I'll report back, but mainly as, you know, observations of my life, my day-to-day thing. Being accosted by the first time by a Karen. That's an episode number, cat scratching post, vlog post number 6, I believe. Excuse me, I have to burp. Excuse me. Thank you, body, for relieving me of that. I am drinking bubbly water. Okay, that's all for now.